Bryansk region, Belgorod, Kursk. The assessment of the current events must certainly be given, and it will be done. But the main thing now is the solution of actual tasks that are taking shape at the moment and on the basis of forecasts of development of the situation. The main task is undoubtedly facing the Ministry of Defense, is to squeeze out the enemy from our territories and together with the Border Guard Service to ensure reliable protection of the state border. The Federal Security Service, together with the Rosgvardia, must ensure a counter-terrorist regime and an effective fight against sabotage. The Federal Security Service, together with the Rosgvardia, must ensure a counter-terrorist situation and effective combat against sabotage and reconnaissance groups of the enemy. The combat tasks. Civilian agencies are obliged to provide the security forces with everything they need. I won't list everything, but it certainly concerns industry, transportation, construction complex, medicine, and financial support. And finally, all of us, together with the heads of the respective regions, must focus on the main tasks, and that is to support our people who need help and protection. Before we get down to work and give the floor to the participants of the meeting, just a few more words. It is obvious that it is now clear why the Kyiv regime has refused our proposals to return to a peaceful plan of settlement, as well as the proposals of interested and neutral mediators. By all appearances, the enemy, with the help of his Western masters, he is doing their will and is fighting us with the hands of the Ukrainians in the West. Now, from the looks of it, the enemy is seeking to improve their negotiating position in the future. But what kind of negotiations can we talk about with people who indiscriminately strike civilians, civilian infrastructure, or trying to threaten nuclear power facilities? What is there to talk about with them? Secondly, these actions, of course, have the main military objective, namely to stop the advance of our troops, to completely liberate the territory of the Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republics, the territory of Novorossiya. And what? Happening on the line of contact, what are the results? The pace of offensive operations by the Russian armed forces, volunteers, veterans, have not only not decreased, but rather increased by 1.5 times. Across the entire line of contact, our armed forces are advancing. And finally, another of the enemy's obvious targets is to sow discord in our society, to intimidate people, to destroy the unity and cohesion of Russian society. That is, to strike a blow to the internal political situation. But even here, the answer on the part of Russian citizens is already in place. It is the unanimous support of all those who are in trouble. Support for the army, an increase, very importantly, an increase in the number of people willing to join our men, the fighters who heroically defend Russia with weapons in their hands. The number of those willing to sign contracts with the Ministry of Defense has increased in recent days. The leaders of the Kyiv regime are not only committing crimes against the Russian people, but they've essentially set themselves on a path of exterminating the Ukrainians themselves, the Ukrainian people, whom they no longer seem to consider their own. The losses of the Ukrainian armed forces are dramatically increasing for them, including among the most combat-ready units and subunits that the enemy is transferring to our border. The enemy will certainly receive a worthy response. And all of our objectives, it will undoubtedly be achieved. Let's get to work. At the beginning of our meeting, I would like to give the floor to the heads of the regions. Let us begin with the Bryansk region. Please, please.